Nearly a third of all Americans are suffering from either prediabetes or has diabetes. This quote made by Daniel Keaton Olson served as a reality check for most Americans, the majority who rely on rapid-acting insulin. They don't know that this insulin has a price, which is abused and monopolized by big pharmaceutical corporations for profit. For no reason at all, insulin prices have increased threefold, and it does not exhibit any signs of slowing down. I have personally witnessed these changes because I am an insulin dependent diabetic myself, living in the United States. We must challenge these unfair changes head on and stop poor conduct of these large corporations dealing with insulin. The prices of insulin have been hugely inflated due to manufacturers' greedy natures. Who wants to generate substantial profit margins? This speech will present the reason for inflation of insulin prices and history of misconduct and monopolization of insulin manufacturing companies. To properly comprehend the insulin affordability predicament, including the system widespread abuse, we need to take a step back and understand the affected illness. According to WebMD, diabetes can be classified with two major categories: diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2. Diabetes type 1 is an illness that is the most predominant in children. It is a chronic autoimmune deficiency condition where the body immune system attacks beta cells that produce insulin inside the pancreas. This action prevents insulin from being built in the body, thereby making effectiveness needing several insulin injections for the remainder of their lives. On the other hand, type 2 diabetes, which I have, is a condition that occurs mainly in adulthood. It is the pancreatic condition whereby the body either resists insulin or is insulin resistant and does not produce enough insulin. Insulin injections are not necessarily needed for every type 2 diabetic, but this does not mean that together with type 1 diabetes, insulin is not an essential component of their lives. In the United States, people with diabetes rely on insulin each day. They need affordable health insurance coverage. However, currently, an insulin affordability predicament is happening in our country, in addition to a lot of other medically necessary drugs. One of the leading causes of this dire situation is the hike in these medical product prices. In other countries, the cost of insulin ranges from $20 to $100. Contrastly, in the United States, the price of the vial of insulin to be used a single day retails above $300, which is insane. The prices of insulin have hugely impacted the insulin-dependent population in the United States, with most of them unable to afford such cost. This has resulted in them finding dangerous and outlandishly alternative methods of obtaining life-saving drugs. Some have opted to travel out of the country, purchasing insulin drugs in countries where it is cheaper, for example, Mexico and Canada. This is a dangerous route to take because it is essential smuggling, which is illegal and prohibited. They might get fines or thrown in jail if they were caught. However, these people have very few alternative options. For other diabetics, they turn to local means of obtaining insulin drugs, including selling their possessions to afford to buy insulin. In some cases, those who have run out of options to sell put their health at risk by rationing the little insulin they have. They have changed their diets or reduced the amount of insulin their body requires, which may cause deadly health complications. This is a common denominator for ridiculous prices, and that this is insulin manufacturers. Some pharmaceutical companies take advantage of the patient's dependency on insulin drugs and sell them at insane prices to turn a huge profit. These pharmaceutical companies are monopolizing, hence, they have the propaganda to set the price for insulin. One shocking fact is that only 3 pharmaceutical companies control 90% of the insulin market. According to CDC, these are the Savoco, the Nova Nordisk, and the Eli Lilly. This is not a coincidence because these companies know that if they allow other manufacturers into the market, they will be forced to sell the insulin at a lower price. Due to increased competition, they're wary of this. So they have created monopolies by driving out competing companies from the industry. A way of doing this is a pay-for-delay agreement, whereby a generic company recognizes the original owner of the patent and desists from entering the marketing, accepting a payoff from the original owner of the patent in the process. Due to capitalism in the United States, big insulin pharmaceutical companies have found it easier to accomplish such. Hence, the country monopolizes prices of insulin. At this point, one must wonder how these big manufacturers are allowed to get away with this obnoxious pricing, questioning why there are no laws set to prevent such price hikes from occurring. To respond to that, I have to admit that nothing is illegal in this country if such big companies are involved, because they influence the lawmakers themselves to act in their favor. However, you and I are not blind, proving that these huge insulin companies are fleecing Americans out of their hard-earned money. Each dollar that this company spends is carefully planned and thought out to generate profit. There are some instances where they may be spending money primarily through lobbying our legislation. These big companies intentionally bribe the political elites, influence them to set laws that favor the pharmaceutical companies. These companies spend millions of dollars each year for this lobbying process, but that is just a snip of the billions of dollars that they make each year in profit. As a result, they have created loopholes in the legal system that allows them to exploit insulin-dependent diabetics through obnoxious pricing, patients evergreening, and suing companies that oppose their views. For this reason, we need to stand up against them. The time for being silent is up. My life is not a product for which big pharmaceutical companies can trade for. Their profits motivate. This is a sentiment that I share with millions of other diabetics all over the United States. We want nothing but to help stop the ongoing insulin affordability crisis in this country. So what I need everyone to do is I need everyone to call their local legislation and act and beg them to change these laws to make insulin more affordable. They have used all means, hooks and crooks to accomplish this. It is time we stand up against them. You too can be part of this fight by urging your state legislator to take action against these pharmaceuticals. The doctors who discovered insulin in 1923 sold their insulin for only $1. With the right amount of action, this can be a reality once more for people with diabetes all across the United States. Myself, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to listen to me, and I hope you are willing to make a transformation change in the future and call our legislation. Thank you.